Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good evening so far. So we're just gonna do some Chaos Child tonight. Now the Wataru fight hasn't happened yet. Basically, the last time I streamed this, which was just yesterday, actually, Serika basically kinda gave Takuru her plan that involves both herself and Takuru. She wants Takuru to leave Shibuya. She believes that if he gets out of Shibuya, he will be safe, and he won't have to worry about Wataru coming to hunt him down and shit. Also, she's going to, go fight Wataru. Try to take his ass out. And I think, so Kunosato is going to go with Takuru out of Shibuya. I think, didn't Kunosato say she wanted to take Arimura with them too, I think? So yeah, that is the plan. Oh, and the music at the beginning of the stream is not AI music. It's a real song. Actually heard it on a YouTube ad, and I was like, that's a cool song. So I'm using it for this. Yeah. Song is called Void. It's by an artist called Melissa, as in Malissa. Why was she mad about hearing about the Committee of 300? Because she hates the Committee of 300?
調子こいてますね。連続殺人？しかも同じ施設のやつもでしょ？何やってもいいと思ってんすよ、こいつ。
Oh yeah, also last time we got a scene about this kind of random reporter. I don't think this visual novel ever talked about this reporter before. But basically this reporter wanted to cover this festival that Shibuya is doing because I guess she anticipated that her favorite band or performing artist would perform at this festival, and she would get to like meet them and shit. And of course that band's lead singer was the victim of the second New Gen killing. So she doesn't have much of a reason really to cover it anymore, but she got assigned to it anyway by the news organization she works for. So I guess her reason that she's come up with now for covering it is so that she can find out more information about Takuru and bring him to his demise. I don't know, this person, I don't know what their problem is, but yeah. So yeah, there was that too. The words made me sick, so I turned off the TV. I realized that the skin on the soles of my feet was starting to rub off, and unclenched my toes. It felt like if I didn't keep some part of my body tensed up, I'd scream and start smashing things. I'd always hated outsiders who never cared about the actual people caught up in something, but this time it was different.
誰が調子ついてるって。
Damn it! You don't know anything. You don't understand anything. And if you don't know anything, then you need to keep your mouth shut. I wasn't the one who killed Nano or Yui. Serika had been sitting in her chair, barely moving. She seemed to be staring at a spot on the wall, just waiting for time to pass.
Takuru-san.
Well, yeah, I get that, Ox, but I don't know. The way that reporter was talking, I don't know. It seemed like it was something else, like some other reason.
おい、ここへ来ちゃダメだろ。
I suddenly shut my mouth. Uki and Kazuki were both looking at Serika. Their hands were shaking, either with fear or suppressed rage, or maybe both.
新庄さんと優斗は。
新庄さんは今電話を。優斗くんはお薬を飲んで私の部屋で眠ってます。
そっか。
I was glad he was asleep. If he saw the person who killed his sisters, he probably couldn't take it. He was still just in elementary school. The two of them stared at Serika unmoving. Serika didn't move either, but...
本当だ。
At some point, Serika had turned away from the wall to look at them.
クルス・ノノを殺したのは私だよ。山添雨季、和樹花。
Their expressions changed. Serika must have read their thoughts. They took a few steps back and shivered.
他のすべての事件もあなたなんですか？そうだ。どうして？いえ、だったら。
Serika's voice was calm, but Uki's was small and shaking.
私がいた場所のこと何か知ってるんですよね。私がお世話をしていた皆さんは今どこに？さあな、私にはわからない。答えてください。お願いです。あなたがすべての犯人なら知っているはずです。
I suddenly realized why Uki wouldn't back down.
そうだ。
Uki didn't know about Dad yet. I hadn't had the time to tell her, and...
ウキは父さんを慕っていたから。
Uki was extremely shy, and it was Nano and Dad who'd given her a place here. And she'd always found her meaning in life and helping others, so doctors must have been people she really looked up to.
話せるわけないだろう。
山添雨季、お前は何も聞いていないようだな。
やめろ。
I jumped out of my chair.
お前なら佐久間の正体に気づける可能性があったんだがな。おそらく6年前に会っているはずだ。
何の話を。
まあ、あんな状況では無理かもしれないが、佐久間は。
だからやめろ。
As I screamed, I hit her with my power, without even thinking about it. I slammed her off her chair and onto the floor. And then I walked over and grabbed her by the hair. I'd never been this violent with a girl before. I could hear Uki and Kazuki gasping at the change in me.
こっちを見ろ。
I'd grabbed her by the hair to make her look me straight in the eye.
いい加減にしろよお前。これ以上大切な家族の心を壊すな。
I looked at her, mustering all the rage I could in my mind. She should be able to tell how mad I was. Serika must have felt my anger, or maybe it hurt where I grabbed her hair, because her face twisted a little in pain.
Takuru-san!
I looked back and saw Uki staring at Serika with wide eyes. Oh, I saw Inside Out 2 yesterday. The movie. And it was really good. I liked it about as much as the first Inside Out. You never saw the first, yeah. Kazuki looked sad too.
もうやめてください。いくら尾上さんがその悪い人でも、タクルさんがそんな怖いことするの見たくないです。
ああ、そうだな。
I let go of Serika's hair. She ran her hand through it violently to try and get it back into place.
タクルさん、先生はどうしたんですか？今どこにいるんですか？それに新庄さんが突然荷物をまとめろって、それと何か関係あるんですか？
それは。
There were tears in Uki's eyes, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her the truth. Serika stood up, and then she grabbed her stomach again for some reason. There was blood on her hands.
父さんにやられたっていう傷か。
Come to think of it, Her wound looked like it had opened when I'd used my powers on her at Frisia. Damn it. I turned to Uki, who looked like she was on the verge of breaking down in tears.
後で必ず話すから、今は言われた通りに荷物をまとめてくれ、ウキ。
Yeah, he did.
でも、
Uki looked like she wanted to ask more questions, but Kazuki grabbed her hand firmly and shook her head. When? I'm not sure. They didn't ever actually show it. They only, like, Serika's only, like, talked about it, so I don't know when it happened. And then she pushed her gently on the shoulder and led her out of the room.
ありがとうな。
I said thanks in my mind for Kazuki's kindness. And as soon as I heard the two of them start to quietly pack up in Uki's room, I invited Serika downstairs.
ついてこいよ。いいから来いって。あれ？
When I went inside the exam room, I didn't see Kunosato or Arimura.
変だな。
I thought they'd still be here.
外科用の設備などここにはないだろう。
Serika must have already read my mind.
一般家庭の救急箱よりマシだろ。それに。
And Nano had said that Dad used to be a brain surgeon, and that he'd done operations on patients during the Shibuya earthquake, and that there were still patients who said that he'd saved their lives.
そうだ。父さんは。
Dad was a good doctor. The people in the neighborhood loved him. He drank too much and he could be a little lazy, but he was a man who found his life's work in helping others. He was a man I could respect. So why? At first, I hadn't believed he could betray us, but as time passed, it started to seem more real. I knew it was pathetic, but I almost started to cry. I tried to take my mind off of it by going through the shelves, which were filled with gauze and drugs. But all the medicine bottles had neat labels in Nano's handwriting, and when I saw them, it only made me want to cry more.
違うな。佐久間は相手の思考を誘導するという最悪な力を手に入れ、それを楽しんでいる人間だ。なのに、表向きはいい医者を演じていた。
Serika lifted up her skirt and showed me her stomach. Wait. Do they mean her shirt?
お前、それ。
No, apparently they did mean her skirt. Damn. It was covered with packing tape that had been stained dark red. It was wound poorly and far too tight.
佐久間は以前、私が傷の応急処置にガムテープを使っているのを見て笑っていたよ。やるじゃねえか、と意味のわからないことを言ってな。お前は2番目の事件を覚えているか？ストリートミュージシャンの高柳が殺された事件だ。
ああ。
腹が裂かれてスピーカーが埋め込まれていた。あの時、思考誘導された高柳が止血に使ったのがやはりガムテープだ。思考誘導された高柳が裂いた腹をガムテープで処置しているのを見た。なぜそんなことをさせているのか、あいつに尋ねたが、あいつはこう言った。
お前に似てるだろ？人形みたいで面白いじゃねえか。
I could imagine his tone and his voice. I felt all the hairs on my body stand up on end.
私は佐久間の思考を読んだ。何を考えてそんな言葉が出てくるのか知らなければと思った。
Serika let out a long breath, as if letting something that had been building up inside her out.
あいつは言葉以上のことを考えていなかった。頭の中にはただ面白いという声だけが反響していた。あいつは異常だ。よく快楽殺人と言われるものがあるが、それですらない。自分にとって面白いかどうかだけが重要で、その行為が殺人かどうかにさえ興味がないんだ。あいつに気持ちを寄せるな、理解しようとするな。優しい父親だったという思い込みを捨てろ。
別にそんなつもりはない。
違う。お前はまだ佐久間に対して何かを期待している。でもあいつにとっては食後のお前たちとの談笑も残虐な殺人も同じことなんだぞ。
そんなつもりないって言ってるだろ。
I couldn't tell how my confused thoughts appeared to Serika, because I didn't know how I felt myself. Dad was trying to join some organization called the Committee. That's why he was going to kill me and put an end to the case. I was tired of hearing that.
だいたいそれをすぐに受け入れろって言われたって無理に決まってるだろ。
Just 10 hours ago, Dad was Dad. The lazy guy who drank too much. The doctor everybody loved. Serika started to silently tear off the packing tape.
ここは外科じゃないからな。手術道具が置いてあるとは思えない。それより奥の机の一番下の引き出しを見てくれ。
何？
クルスノがよく使っていた机だ。そこに裁縫道具が入っているだろう。
Kurusu had indeed kept sewing tools in there to patch the buttons back onto Dad's white coat. Did she learn that by reading Kurusu's mind? Well, he is in the committee, but he's not in like the main people of the committee. Like he's not like there's a lot of stuff that other people in the committee know that they won't tell him because he's just kind of like a low level committee person. I was angry, but I did what she said anyway. There was a bag filled with sewing tools there, like always. I gave them to Serika, and she grabbed a needle and thread at random. She disinfected them and started to wordlessly sew up her own stomach. Seeing the sewing needle stick into Serika's pale white skin was worse than seeing the wound itself. She showed no hesitation and no sign of being in pain.
こいつ、今までどんな生活を。
Our eyes met. I forced myself to think of something else before she could answer my question.
父さんは、僕やお前をどこに呼び出したんだ。
Serika finished her stitches and tore off the end of the thread.
すべての始まりとなった場所。その始まりの時刻に来いと言っていただろう。
わかんないか？今回の事件、いや、6年前の事件も含めて、すべてが始まった場所だよ。そう、そこだよ。ついでに時間も合わせようじゃねえか。あの時あの場所でってやつだ。
That's what he'd said. The place where everything began?
お前や久野里が考えた通り、元凶は渋谷地震にある。あれは、とある装置が爆発したせいで引き起こされたものだ。そして、お前たちが発生因子と呼んでいるもの、実際はある特殊な電磁波だが、それが拡散されてしまった。それによって望まれない能力者が覚醒することになった。
渋谷地震が人工地震だったっていう陰謀論は事実だったのか。
そういうことになるな。お前たちもフリージアで話していたが、その装置はかつて渋谷駅前のプラネタリウムに密かに設置されていた。
Kunosato had been the one to tell me that. Some company had bought out the planetarium and used it to do experiments.
でもあそこは今ヒカリオが立ってるだろ。
そう。だが、ヒカリオの中にかつてのプラネタリウムの DNA を引き継ぐというコンセプトのもと、新たに建造された施設がある。それがシアターキューブだよ。
え？
The Theater Cube. A huge theater located inside the Hikariwo. It was used for musicals and famous performance groups from both inside and outside Japan. It was the largest part of the Hikariwo building and one of its most popular attractions. So it was modeled after the old planetarium?
そういえば、あそこには。
I'd gone there just once before. There was a foreign musical playing. I remembered being amazed at the size of the place and the luxurious design. But what I remembered best was the faces of the people I'd gone with. Yui, Yuto, and Nano and Dad. I think it was to celebrate Nano and I making it into Hekiho Academy. We'd made it into Hekiho, which offered free tuition for earthquake orphans. And Dad had joked, this frees up a lot of cash, and bought us expensive front row seats. Nano had gotten mad at him and told him he was wasting money. Thinking back, that was the first time the five of us had ever gone anywhere as a family. It was a memory I treasured. But
なんで父さんはそんなところを選んだんだろう。
Onoe closed her eyes for a moment.
おそらくはお前だ、宮代拓。
僕。
今回の復興祭、ヒカリオはその中心の役割を担っていて、大勢の人間が集まっている。あいつは声明通り、お前を衆目の中、自殺に見せかけて殺すつもりだろう。
Using his mind control, she continued.
それに、復興祭の昼のイベントさえ終わってしまえば、夜の劇場は巨大な無人スペースになる。万一、ディソードで切り合う羽目になっても、人目を避けられる。始まりの場所に来い、などと大行なことを言っていたが、あいつが何の意図もなく場所と時間を指定するはずがない。
ってことは、時間っていうのは
午後10時28分。
I would never forget that time. It was when the Shibuya earthquake struck.
午後10時28分をもって復興祭の雰囲気は一変する。それまでのお祭り騒ぎから参加者全員が黙祷を捧げ、渋谷は静寂に包まれる。そんな中、自殺の声明を出したお前が登場するわけだ。どうなるか想像がつくだろう。あのクズめ。
There was disgust in her words, but it wasn't rage. It sounded like she was suffering somehow. Why, Serika? If you're that angry, if you're in that much pain.
なんでお前はずっと父さんに従っていたんだよ。
Yeah, I mean, he got his powers like right as the earthquake was happening. Yeah.
何度も言っている。私を生み出した時のことは覚えているだろう。
おのえ。
Serika, save me. Please, please.
おのえ。お願いだから。僕に。
あの時、お前は自らの生存を助けてくれる私を望んだ。私はそのようにして生まれた。 それ以外に優先させる目的など私には存在しない。そのために他のすべてを捨ててきた。お前に生み出されたあの瞬間から私はそうやって生きてきたんだ。いや、そう生きることを与えられて私は生まれたんだ。お前を生かすためであれば、相手が佐久間だろうと誰だろうと黙って従う。
I couldn't speak. If what Serika said was true, then the real cause behind all this was...
責任を感じる必要はないぞ、宮代拓。
I shuddered reflexively as she read my mind.
お前はこれまで何も知らなかった。ギガロマニアックスのことも、その存在の裏で暗躍する連中がいることも。だから、これはお前のせいじゃない。
The feelings that pained me deep inside my heart came boiling up.
いいのかよ。
I forced myself to speak the words.
お前はそれでいいのかよ。
That's right. Even if I'd created Serika, even if I'd given her a reason to live,
ユイやノノを殺したんだぞ。
that wasn't what I wanted. The kind, gentle Serika Onoe I knew would never want that. She had to keep me alive? Even if it meant losing Nano and Yui? Even if it meant killing them? That wasn't what the two of us wanted. Was she really willing to give up everything else for the goal she'd been given? That wasn't human.
本当にただの人形みたいじゃないか。
Serika didn't move. She just looked back at me.
そろそろ行く。
She was the first one to break the silence. She tossed the old packing tape, the used gauze she'd put on her wounds, and the remainder of the fresh bandages into the trash, then adjusted her clothes.
渋谷から出た後はしばらくはおとなしくしていろ。取るべき行動は久野里美代が指示してくれるだろう。
She headed for the door of the exam room. She wasn't looking at me anymore. She put her hand on the doorknob and without looking back said,
夜までここにいるつもりだったが、山添雨季の能力が割と厄介だ。今余計なことをされると困る。それにお前の心変わりが起きても困るしな。
何？
But before I could say anything more, the door opened. Shinjo was standing there. I wasn't sure how long he had been there. He looked down at Serika, seemingly trying to keep his emotions in check.
なるほど。迷っているのか。
君は殺人犯だ。
He blocked Serika's path as he spoke.
どんな事情があるにせよ。そしてその事情が常識で測れないものであっても、殺人は殺人だ。法によって君は裁かれなければならない。
そうだろうな。
Serika's voice was calm.
それに今回の事件は尊敬していた先輩の弔い合戦でもある。
The two of them stood facing each other. The air was thick with tension between them. They stood like that for almost a full minute. I couldn't see Serika's face from here, but Shinjo's expression seemed to waver once in a while. He probably knew that Serika was reading his mind, so he was thinking the things he wanted her to know. It felt like there was a silent but intense discussion going on between them. Eventually, Shinjo sighed a little. He moved to the side with a pain expression on his face.
いいんだな。
復興祭が終わった後、上層部からどんな圧力がかかってこようと、俺は君と佐久間を追う。どこへ逃げようとな。
お前が追うのは一人で済む。生き残るのは私か佐久間のどちらかだけだ。
She went to walk out of the room at a pace which belied her injury.
宮代拓。
She stopped, and without looking back, she said,
生き残れよ。何があっても。お前だけは生き残れ。
and then she disappeared.
あまり思い詰めるなよ。
何をですか？
いや、
He scratched his head, then checked the time and frowned.
警察は厳戒態勢で復興祭の警備に当たっている。俺もこの後一旦ここを離れなくちゃいけない。その間代わりの警官が来る。そうだな。ウキ君の部屋に隠れているといい。君がいるとは思ってないから探しはしないはずだ。
はい。
おそらく戻りは夜になる。そのタイミングで渋谷を離れよう。準備をしておいてくれ。
わかりました。
I answered him, but my body wouldn't move. My hands were clutched tight, and I hadn't even realized it. I felt so frustrated, so angry and disgusted with myself. All these horrible things were going on around me, and someone else had already decided how I was going to escape them. I'd done nothing at all. Shinjo seemed to be about to say something else, but instead he left the room silently. The clock said it was past 10 p.m. I was supposed to be getting ready to leave Shibuya, but I couldn't leave Alba Dorm right now. and most of my stuff in my room was already taken by the police. There wasn't much for me to do.
大体渋谷を離れる本当の理由は何だ？
It might just be to avoid the warrant, but it was clear from the way Serika and Kunosato were talking that there was probably another reason. Something that had to do with us psychics. And something that had to do with Chaos Child Syndrome. I quickly closed my eyes and shook my head. No, don't do it. Don't try to find out. Remember your promise to Nano. You've already learned what happens when you try to find out about things you're not supposed to know, right?
尾上は言ったな。
I looked up and saw Kunosato and Arimura by the door.
いつからというか。
Were they at the front desk next to the exam room the whole time?
尾上に思考洞察されたくなかったのでな。とっさに有村と逃げ込んだ。
Kunosato entered the exam room. Arimura followed after, but when she saw the bandages and tape in the wastebasket, she looked at me angrily.
別にあいつの味方になったわけじゃない。
I sounded a little guilty as I said it, but all Arimura said was, I know. But the look on her face was strange. It was as if she blamed me, but wasn't able to say it aloud.
なんだ？
え？
他にも何か言いたいことあるんじゃないのか？言ってくれよ。もう隠し事はたくさんなんだ。
そうですね。
Arimura looked at Kunosato for a moment, but evidently it was okay for her to tell me because she continued.
セリ、尾上セリカはなんて言ってましたか？
というと？
いろいろ話してましたよね。よく聞こえなかったけど、声はしてたから。
そうだな。
I gave them both a brief version of what Serika had told me. Kunosato crossed her arms and thought for a moment, then whispered to herself.
やはりな。
え？
お前、どう考えている？
何がです？
尾上の言い分だ。
どうって。
I didn't even think about it. None of the things she had to say were what I wanted to hear.
たとえ僕が彼女を生み出してしまったとしても、どうしても納得できないというか。
違う。そういうことじゃない。
Kunosato raised a hand to cut me off.
あいつがしたことは許されない。それはどんな理由を振りかざそうと変わらない。私が聞いているのはそういうことではなく、あいつが昨べ事件に関して説明したことだ。お前はどう思った？
昨べ尾上が話したこと。
What did I think? She'd told the truth, right? Arimura had heard the whole thing and used her powers to check it. But Arimura looked down at her feet and said softly,
宮代先輩、覚えてますか？伊藤先輩と結衣さんの事件の後、私が言ったこと。
え？
私がもっと注意深く能力を使っていれば、伊藤先輩の言葉がどこかおかしいって気づけたはずだって。
もう
Arimura had regretted that deeply. But what did that have to do with Serika?
あ
I looked at her face and suddenly figured out what she meant. Was there something that Serika had said?
嘘があったのか。
Is Ito dead? No. I think he's still, in the hospital, I think.
いえ、彼女は確かに真実を語っていました。でも、
I don't know. They haven't talked about Ito in a while.
でも
なんか変なんです。うまく言えないけど、真実すぎるというか。
Too true?
なんだよそれ。
私、ずっと注意深く聞いてました。私の能力って相手の言葉が本当か嘘か分かりますけど、人の言葉っていつも白黒はっきりしてるわけじゃないです。話してる時っていろいろ迷ったり曖昧になったり、自分でも何言ってるか分からなくなったり、とにかくちゃんとしてないですよね。だから普通は本当のことを話しててもぼんやりとしたグレーみたいな部分が混じってるものなんです。
人間が言葉を発するという行為は常に理路整然とした思考の上で行われているわけじゃないからな。理性と感情が入り混じり、時に論旨は飛躍し、会話の道筋はひどく不安定だ。
Kunosato added.
でも彼女の尾上セリカの言葉は全てまっすぐだったんです。まるでシナリオでも用意されていて、それを読んでいるみたいに。
それにあいつの話そのものにも気に入らない点がある。
Kunosato sat down in a chair without asking permission.
フリージアであいつの話を聞いていた時は愚かなことに私も頭に血が上っていてな。冷静に考えられなかった。だがここへ来る途中ふと疑問が浮かんで、そこから検討をしてみた。だから己に思考洞察されるわけにいかなかったんだ。
ああ、それで
Last night, Serika had stayed in the exam room instead of coming up to the living room to talk with everyone else. That was the reason.
本格的におかしいと思ったきっかけは昨夜の電話でのやり取りだ。 あいつは私にお前を渋谷から逃がすように言った。それがお前を生存させることにつながると。
ええ。
I remembered her saying that. Arimura seemed to be suspicious that her words were too true, but they seemed like the truth to me.
確かにお前を渋谷から逃がすということ自体は筋が通っている。お前にとっての脅威になってしまった佐久間を殺すという選択もな。だが私にお前を託すというのが矛盾していないか。
I didn't know what she meant. What seemed strange about it?
あいつはどうして私にお前を託したと思う？
だから久野里さんは何か知ってるんでしょう。僕らの知らない何かを。尾上はそれを
差し引いてだ。そもそもあいつの存在意義がお前の生存にあるのなら、お前が最後の時を迎える瞬間までずっと一緒にいなくてはならないはずだ。違うか
？Is she getting ready to tell us she's a Gigalomaniac too?
だからそれは通す。佐久間のせいで予定が狂って。
Arimura interrupted me.
確かに彼女はそう言っていましたし、嘘はありませんでした。でも嘘じゃないのはおかしいと思いませんか
は？
I stared at her, uncertain as to what she meant.
そう。あいつの言葉は真実に見せかけた嘘かもしれないんだよ。
Well, bro, if that's the case, then Arimura's power kind of sucks. I mean, she's only able to detect some lies. Kunosato nodded.
真実に見せかけた嘘？
宮代拓を生かし続けるためならば手段は選ばない。あいつはそういう行動をする。
だからそれのどこに嘘が？
佐久間だと所詮末端組織の研究者に過ぎ、そんな小物と差し違えて何になる？ただの無駄死にでしかない。
Wait, so you're saying maybe she's trying to say that Serika wants to, like, take on the entire committee? Is that what she's trying to say?
委員会は巨大だ。佐久間を殺したところで宮代の安全など全く保証されない。なのに自分が死んでしまってはどうにもならないだろ
う。だから久野里さんに僕を預けるって。
バカを言うな。確かに私はお前をおとりにして委員会の実態を探りたいと思っている。 だがお前など不必要になったら簡単に切り捨てる。守り続けるわけがない。
Okay, yeah, I think she told Serika something to that effect.
尾上セリカは私の思考を読めるんだぞ。そんなことわからないと思うか？
Okay, yeah, I think that's where she's going with this. I think she's saying Serika is just gonna try and wipe out the entire committee, and then problem solved. I mean, Takuru won't need protection if the entire committee is wiped out.
つまり委員会が本当に宮代先輩を狙っているのなら、彼女は先輩のそばから絶対に離れるはずないんです。自分の手でどこまでも先輩を守ろうとするはず。違いますか？
それは。
そしてもう一つ、決定的におかしなことがある。あいつはなぜ最初からお前に真実を告げなかった？
最初？
渋谷地震による昏睡からお前が目覚めた時だよ。
Well, probably because she thought that Takuru would try to stop her.
お前を生き延びさせることが目的なら、真実を隠す必要なんて最初からないんだ。むしろ全てを正直に告げ、能力や委員会に対する情報をお前に与えた方が助かる可能性はずっと高い。そもそもそういった情報があれば、お前は一連の殺人事件にだって絶対に首を突っ込まなかっただろう。わざわざ危険な目に遭うことだってなかった。
Okay, well, I mean, obviously you think that, but that doesn't necessarily think that's the way she's thinking about it.
ね、なんか変でしょ、先輩。
Well, but the dude, even he got involved in the murders, but he didn't put himself in danger because Serika knew that Wataru had agreed that he was not going to harm Takuru. So, I mean, Serika knew all along that he wasn't in any actual danger. She was right. I didn't realize it until they told me. I never would have done the things I did if I'd known what Serika had told me last night. Just like Kunosato said, I would have stayed away. In fact, I might have done something to keep us away from it. If I had, Nano and Yui might still... But...
なんで？
Why had she hidden the truth? It's like...
逆に宮代先輩を危険な目に遭わせようとしてるみたいですよね。
Okay, I like I say, I can't follow this train of thought they're trying to go down here because, like I said, Serika had insured she had already insured at this point that he wasn't in danger because she made Wataru agree to not harm him. So yeah, this whole line of thought here doesn't make any sense. Arimura said the same thing I was thinking.
でも、尾上の言葉が嘘だなんてありえないだろう。昨べは有村がそばにいたんだから。
いえ、方法がないこともないんです。私の能力の盲点をつく方法が。
有村の能力の盲点。
I remembered what Arimura had just said. Everything Serika had said was the truth, but it was too true. It was as if she was reading from a script. I found it. There was one way. One way to get through Arimura's powers.
まさか、伊藤の時と同じ。
Oh, you mean she was being mind controlled? Arimura nodded slowly.
はい。私が伊藤先輩の異常を見過ごしてしまった。それと同じ方法なら。
思考誘導。
That meant there might be a little bit of hope.
つまり尾上は佐久間に思考誘導されていて、あんなことをしたのは伊藤と同じように操られていただけで。
But Arimura didn't look any better when I asked her.
私もそれなら少しは救われるなって思ったんですけど。
あくまでも可能性の一つだ。それにすがるな。
だそうです。
そうか。
My shoulders slumped.
先輩。
妙な期待はするな。それすら罠かもしれん。
はい、わかってます。
I spoke clearly. I thought I was telling the truth. But Arimura looked down as if she was in pain.
今、嘘をついたのか、僕は。
Kunosato must have figured out what I was thinking, because her expression became more stern.
私も思考誘導の線は考えている。でもそれも腑に落ちないんだ。佐久間が己の思考を操ってわざわざ仲間割れを演出する理由は何だ。
She was right. There was no reason for Dad to do that. If he'd sent Serika as an assassin, I would have been dead already. The two of us had even been alone together, and Serika had done nothing. I knew it. There was no point in hoping that Serika was really just a normal girl who didn't know anything. I should have been able to tell from watching her last night. The way she talked, the way she acted, the way she behaved towards everyone else. It was all different than the Serika I knew before. If mind control was involved, she would have acted like the Serika I knew. Because, and I hated myself for saying it, if she had been the old Serika, I couldn't have brought myself to hate her. I would have thought for a long time, and then maybe forgiven her. And then like an idiot, I would have done exactly what Dad wanted, and only regretted it the instant I was killed.
Miyashiro.
Kunosato's expression was as fierce as ever.
はい。
よく考えろ。もしかすると、これが重大な鍵かもしれない。昨日も聞いたことだが、地震の時、お前は何を望んだ？その結果、尾上がリアルブートされたのだとしたら、あいつに何を求めたんだ？本当にあいつは、お前を生存させることが目的なのか？
I remembered what it had been like back then. I remembered the hellish sights around me, the horrible headache, and I remembered begging Serika to help me. Serika said it was her goal to keep me alive, to save my life, literally. There was a brief but strong pain in my head. I pressed my hand to my forehead. Whenever I remembered that, the pain came back.
大丈夫ですか？
Arimura had been through the same pain, so she was worried. I raised my hand and told her I was okay.
とにかく助けてくれと言った気がします。
I couldn't remember if I'd barely been able to get the words out, or if I'd shouted them at the top of my lungs, or if I hadn't even said them aloud at all. But I could remember asking Serika for help.
だけど。
Was that really all I asked for? Back then, I'd... There was a new pain. This time I could feel a throbbing in my temples. I pressed my hand harder into my head, and the nails dug into the skin. My whole body staggered, and I collapsed to the floor.
先輩!
There was a warm sensation on my shoulder. Arimura was trying to help me up.
ごめん、大丈夫。
嘘です。
Arimura led me over to the bed in the corner of the exam room. I wanted to lie down right away, but...
いや、ダメだ。新庄さんが代わりの警官が来るって言ってたから、雨季の部屋に隠れてろって。
じゃあ、もういいですから、上に行きましょう。
I nodded and thanked her as she held me by the shoulder. I forced my body to softly push off her and stand up on its own.
久野里さんもすいません。
She sighed in resignation and shook her head. It's fine, she said.
どのみち尾上がここにいない以上情報の裏付けは取れないしな。お前の話だと尾上は今夜10時28分にシアターキューブに現れるということだが、残念ながら私では能力者2人を相手にして立ち回りを演じることはできそうにない。ハンドガンも久しく撃ってないしな。
Arimura turned to Kunosato, surprised that she'd fired a gun. Kunosato seemed unusually hesitant, but said,
仕方がない。尾上の言うことにはどこか矛盾があるとはいえ、今はそれを探る時間も人も全く足りない。とりあえずだが、予定通り新庄さんが戻ってくるのを待って渋谷を脱出する。もし何らかの企みがそこにあるなら乗ってやるまでだ。
Alright, we are gonna stop here for tonight. And, I will be back again tomorrow night. We'll just do some more, Chaos Child. I am looking up games, candidates for games that will be the next, I guess the next game that I stream. But I haven't really found anything that I want to play yet, so I will keep you in the loop on what I'm gonna do with that. And I'll take suggestions if you wanna throw something out there. But yeah, I was kind of looking at stuff today, but I haven't found anything I want to play yet, so I'll keep looking. And yeah, until then, we'll just keep going through Chaos Child. So yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.